I feel like there are some bugs left or some debris left in the mind because I have noticed myself searching and watching videos about spirituality or the new age or people channeling angels, and it that seeking energy rose up again and arose. I mean, it's become like something I've noticed myself doing in the past days. And I see through how there's no me, but there's this habit of looking for answers, looking for opinions, and there's still some clinging to some concepts, and I think it will just do its own thing until it's done.
You see, you have a certain background, okay, in life, okay. I say you, it's just this, yeah, this body laptop, this body laptop that we call Leonard, okay, has been taught many things and has believed many things, and then it's very easy to think, oh, but poor me, then I'm angry because I've been taught many things and it's their fault, and you can go through all of it. It's fine. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. I'm not saying it's okay, but that is only perpetuating the idea. All of that is only perpetuating the very idea that there is a Leonard, a personality, a somebody, an entity, a soul. I don't know what else, okay? A part of the universe, or whatever, that controls this body laptop and that has choice. Sorry, that has the choice, the control to do anything in particular. No, there are choices, there are decisions, etc., being made by no one, nobody, nothing at all. It's just how this body laptop works sometimes, and so it can seem in that moment that there is a sense of control. Ooh, well, I'm gonna go have a walk. You decided this, but as far as this body laptop here is concerned, Max, when I say, well, I'm going to go have a walk, I don't think I have decided, I have made the decision to go have a walk. It's just what happens. It's all just what happens. So if you decide to have a look at those angels, whatever videos, if that makes sense. For example, there's those messages with those dates and blah, blah, blah. Then there was no one deciding it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Nobody. Okay, good. Is that clear so far?
This is clear, yes.
Very good. Very good. So you see, it's nothing wrong with decisions. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with choices. Choices appear. Okay, they really appear. But there is no one choosing. And if it is experienced on the spur of the moment, spontaneously, if you prefer, that there is someone choosing, there is still no one choosing. Because that, guess what? It's a thought. It's just a thought seemingly happening. It's all it is. A thought coming and going. Literally nothing else. So you're still with me?
Yes.
Okay. So then, here's the pointing I wanted to use. I'm going to ask the questions again. Can you remember who you are?
No.
Try. Give it a try. Can you? I want you to see that you really can't. I want you to be done with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Try to remember who you are. Come on. Give it a try.
No. There's just thoughts. There's just thoughts happening, but I'm not thoughts. I'm.
You're not
I can't remember.
Good. Of course, because it's exactly as this thought's happening, but you can't remember. I mean, a thought can be remembered. See what I mean? But it's a thought, me, a concept, me, that will be remembered. It's not you. You cannot remember who you are. Simple as that. It's impossible. Impossible. Like completely. It's not a trick question or anything. It's just really. It is simply impossible to remember who you are. You still following what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, can you understand who you are?
Not also.
Impossible.
Impossible.
This thought's happening, yeah, coming and going, which we may call understanding, which can be called understanding, no problem. But this understanding has nothing to do with you. It's just a potential understanding. Hey, let's call that personality. Leonard. Character.
Soul, past life, anything.
Perfect. Exactly. And so, I understand. It's what my brain is doing. How could you know that? It's another interpretation. Does that make sense? Yeah, your brain does many things, sure. But what it does exactly, well, I don't know. Honestly, do you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just another thought.
Exactly. So, okay, you cannot understand who you are. And of course, you cannot understand who you are because it would take remembering who you are to understand who you are, don't you think? But it's impossible. Okay, good. Very good. Good. Now, can you forget who you are?
No, because I can't remember. I
Exactly.
forgetting is a thought thing, and I can never forget that.
Exactly. Can you lose who you are? Good. Impossible. It's just impossible, right? Do you know who you are?
I don't know how to answer it. I don't think I know who I am.
No.
But I know that you know it's both, you know that, and you don't know at the same time. Because if I say I
Okay.
know, it's just a thinking that I know.
Yeah.
But I'm not a thought, so I know and I don't know something.
That is not you. That is that. That, at the same time, could potentially be you. Whatever that is, that could potentially be you. That is that. So here's where I'm going with it.
Yes, yes.
You see my point? Yeah. Good. Very good. Now, if I ask you, do you know who you are? There's only two answers possible, really. Is yes, it's a possible answer, or no. I mean, if you say I don't know, I mean it means no, I don't know. See, it's my point here. Like really, that's you're claiming that you don't know. So no, I don't know. Literally, I don't know. Does that make sense? So it's yes or no, basically. Do you know who you are? Yes or no. Now, if you tell me, Max, yes, I know, then in other words, you claim that you know that you know. So far, so good.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, if you tell me, Max, no, I don't know. In other words, you claim that you know that you don't know. You see what I mean?
I see.
So, whereas in fact, all of that is still thinking. So, all of that is still just a thought. So, you think, either you think that you don't know who you are, thought, or you think that you know who you are.
Thought.
Still thoughts. So whether you think that you know, or whether you think that you think that you don't know, it's still only thinking. It's still only an opinion. And so, come on, there must be an opinion that is right. Because the seeker, so-called this ID, the perceived seeker, the so-called the questioner, is like, well, you know what? Yeah. There is, there must be an answer. I've made my opinion. I know, for example. But still, it's still an opinion. Whether you think you know, whether you think you don't know, it's still an opinion. You still following what I'm saying here, yeah?
Yeah.
So I've got a question for you. Does it matter if you know who you are?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Very good. It doesn't. It doesn't because if it mattered, it would take a me, a somebody, to know this. But what somebody do you mean here? This level thing? No, I mean, it's not you. It's not. It's a thought, a mechanics, a projection of your brain. I'm going to assume here, projection of your brain, because your brain has tried to understand who you are its whole life. And it has made up, easy way to know. Look here, the sense of a somebody. Oh, here, the sense of separation. I'm separate from that. There's this body and there is the sense of me. I create separate. There is separation being created because the brain has tried to understand who you are. But the brain, it's just a brain, what I call a fucking laptop, right? Very smart, very clever laptop. Wow. Very inventive. A laptop, nonetheless. Not you. So what me are we talking about here? How could there potentially be a me? The me, the I, thinks. And it thinks, it knows. But wait, the I cannot think. Because the I is just a thought. Remember that video? That's exactly what I meant. That's exactly what I meant. The I cannot think because the I is just a thought. But come on. The I seems to think that it knows or it can know anything. But how could the I know if the I is just a thought? All of that is still thinking happening. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying something should change. I'm saying it's only thinking happening. And when I say thinking, it can appear in two ways. Either just thoughts occurring, you hardly even notice, or does that make sense? There's just thoughts, and this talking is whatever. It's imagination, all of it, thoughts nonetheless. Or it can appear as there is a sense of doing thinking. I'm thinking now. I'm thinking. So there is, in that way, on the spur of the moment, belief that there is a doer, a thinker. Somebody that thinks and that controls the very thinking. And so we call that thinking as in, like there's an action being done by someone, this thinker. Oh, no, wait, it's not the thinker, it's the observer this time. It's the observer. I'm not the thinker, I just observe my thoughts. But that's just a thought as well. Who would observe your thoughts? Who? What? Are you still
No
following
one.
what I'm saying there?
Yeah, no one. No, no one can observe. The
No one.
observing the thought is also a thought. Observing thought, but thoughts cannot observe thought. It's just thought. You know.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's always been like that, hasn't it?
And
Of course. It's always been.
the observer is claiming that it's controlling the thought. But the observer is just another thought. It cannot claim ownership to controlling life because there's no one observer. There's no observer.
Exactly. There is no observer. Where is the observer? What is the observer? There is none. There never was. What you call the observer, or the thinker, the doer, the Leonard, the personality. That's my personality. That's what I do all the time. That's my personality. Oh, really? Sure. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using the words. Don't get me wrong. It's not, I mean, in day-to-day life, it's fine. But it would take a somebody to have to own a personality.
Oh.
And a personality is something that doesn't change much. A little bit with time, but doesn't change much, right? You know, in the idea of personality, I am like that. Really, really. What's me? What sense of separation? Separation to what? You see, you experience. Sorry, there is an experience of a sense of separation in the body laptop called Leonard, because this body laptop sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes thinks it is a somebody that suffers in the sense that can have something to make his life better. I'm not saying you can't change your life. It's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you don't have choices. You can literally leave your home tomorrow if you want. I'm not saying you should, okay? But I'm saying literally. That's all. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
There really is nobody. And of course, there is no free will. Do you understand that now? Or it would take a somebody to have free will. There is no free will. Literally. It appears to the so-called character that doesn't exist, but to the so-called me, that there is a choice. So choices are being made. Sure, but there
So
was no choice in the first place in choosing that choice. Exactly.
it's like let's say I choose it. Let's say I choose to eat chocolate or apple. I choose an apple. If you ask where did the choice come from, there wouldn't be an answer because choice just happens. But the free will, like I am the chooser of eating the apple. It's an idea. It's not really true. Ah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
clear now.
exactly. And I'm not saying that should change in the way you think, in the way it's being. You use words. There are thoughts coming and going. But where? Who thinks? Who? What? Who feels? Who? What? Nobody. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
That's it. That's it. That's simple. There's simply nobody on it. There never was, there never will be. Where? Who?
Mm. Oh my God.
What thinks? What does the thinking? What creates the thinking? Nothing. There's simply what's happening, what seems to be happening in this cannot it's not that it should be different, it is just what is simply happening to no one. The seeker really has no hope because the seeker doesn't exist. It doesn't. So of course it's got no hope. The so-called seeking energy, The sense of separation, none of that actually exists. It's what's happened, it's what's being created. The sense of separation can only be created by an apparent somebody. Apparent somebody. But there is nobody. There really is nobody. So how could there be an actual separation to anything? The sense of separation is just a sense. It's not actual separation. There never was actual separation. There never will be. It was sensed. So, yes, sensed. It's not actual separation. Separation to what? Thoughts, ideas, concepts, which are not separation. The thoughts, ideas, concepts that seem to be happening to no one, really to no one. And no one is not, it's not this idea of a no one, just no one. Just no one. You see, you can imagine a somebody, right? You can imagine a someone, but you cannot imagine no one, can you?
Oh, that's why the brain doesn't like that. That it doesn't. That there's no one. It tries to look for that a someone because the brain likes certainty. The brain likes something to interpret. But when it registers, that's why your pointing is the clearest. But when it
Thank
registers
you.
that it's no one, then it's known. It's I know, it's magic when you say that. Because yeah, so there's really no one. There's really
There's really
nothing.
no one, Leonard.
No
There's really
God, no
nothing.
creator. It's just creation.
No,
It's just the happening of life.
exactly. Okay, creation, creator, all those words, uh, it's exactly what you said. It's just the happening of life. I think it's perfect the way you said it. Does that make sense? There is no creator, there is no creation in the sense making. None. None at all. And to the so-called created person, that's impossible. But wait, that is still being imagined. So the somebody is still being imagined. Your brain trying to understand what it is, who it is. It's being imagined. But in truth, come on. Funny. Because, of course, there can be imagination happening, so called, okay, of no one. Sorry, my bad, of someone. But can you imagine no one?
No, you can't.
Can no one be imagined?
No, it can't. Impossible.
Exactly.
You cannot imagine no one. It's just.
You cannot.
But you know, there's no. You know it, but you cannot imagine it. But I don't
Yeah,
know how to put it into
yeah.
words.
No, but you see my point.
Yeah, I see it.
And I agree. You could say, there is no one, sure, because this you that knows, so called, it's still no one. This you that knows is still no one. So of course you can say, I know. Absolutely, I know there's no one. Yeah, of
Uh,
course. How could there be someone? So this, when you say I know there is no one, this I that is being referred to, not consciously so necessarily, but this I is being referred to is the body laptop. So the brain, the laptop, has registered right there that there is no one. The brain has gotten the joke. So it's a laptop that thinks and that has legs, but it's not a someone. It's a exactly. The body laptop will die. Of course. Of course, absolutely. The body laptop will die. Yeah. It's the one so the team has. So it really makes no sense. Even if you think of it logically, it makes no sense, literally, to be afraid of death. Because literally, death of the body laptop, okay, is the only certainty the body laptop has. The only one. You're certain of something, yet you're afraid of that. It will die. It will die. Oh, but the suffering. There you go. The body laptop might be afraid of the suffering, the physical suffering that may go with it. But sure. But again, does the body laptop know what suffering there will be? If even there will be suffering? If? No, it doesn't. So the body laptop can spend its whole life trying to figure out what will happen this very last minutes, which is very much suffering, if you ask me this. Asking, does that make sense? You are already dead. There is no you in the first place, and that's death. Death is the truth of who you are. In other words, it is. What you are, I don't know. And I don't know what you are. I don't know who you are. But of course, at the same time, I can say, of course, I know who I am. Of course, I know. It's not contradictory. Does that make sense? Because really, that's the funny thing. It's impossible to remember who you are, right? And so whether you say, I know who I am or I don't know, doesn't make a difference. Because this very question, who am I? Or what am I? Or what is this I? Who is this I? Makes no sense, does it?
Doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay. And that's true. In itself, that's true. If that makes sense. That's a true statement, if that makes sense. It just makes no sense. Literally, boom, it's realized, it makes no sense. And the funny thing is that if I ask you right now, is it possible not to know who you are? It's simply impossible not to know who you are.
Yeah, it's impossible.
And so it's impossible. So although this very question, who am I, makes no sense, it is also impossible not to know who you are. Impossible. Impossible. And it's not a contradiction. It's just how it is. It's impossible to claim, I know who I am, and sorry, it is possible, let's put it like this, it is possible to claim, I know who I am, and be clear with it. And not being lying to oneself or something, just being 100% clear with it. It is also possible to say, I don't know who I am, and be extremely clear with it. It's possible. I just did it, and I have no doubt. No, none whatsoever. None of those statements I have a doubt. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it is impossible to remember who you are. That is impossible. You remember what you think. We can remember the sense of a Leonard. But hold on, that's not you. It's the sense of a Leonard, a sense of separation, a me, a thought, a concept, an experience, blah 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 blah. Right? Which is not you. So it is impossible to remember who you are. It is impossible to forget who you are. So of course you know who you are, but at the same time, you also don't know who you are. Because none of that actually matters, because all of that is still just a thought, trying to find if an opinion is right or not, is better or not. You still following what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of which makes sense. What I'm saying right now makes sense. You're following what I'm saying. And at the same time, none of that actually makes sense. Because none of that as such is true. You still following what I'm saying? Because nothing is true. Nothing is truth. There is no truth. And the paradox, the so-called paradox, is that, of course, at the same time, this statement is true. There is no truth, it's true. And this can't be understood with the mind, basically. Well, actually, you know what? That's not true. This, what I said, can be understood by the mind. But not by the mind, but by the brain, if you like. It can be registered by the brain. Ooh, that's good. I'm going to use that in my pointing. Oh, that's very good. I like it. Okay. That can be understood, actually, by the mind. This, what I just said, that at the same time, see, the paradox is understood. Really, it is understood. It is impossible to understand who you are. And this can be understood by the brain, registered. So the paradox cannot remember who you are, cannot forget who you are. So whether you say you know who you are or you don't know who you are is still an opinion. So this very question, who am I, makes no sense. And this whole thing, so because there is no truth, nothing is true as such. But this, what I just said, when I said nothing is true as such, is true. Is a true statement. And that, what I just said, can be seen as a paradox. And it is a paradox, but this paradox is understood, registered, that it is a paradox. It is how it is. It's not in contradiction. It's not a conflict. It's just that and that. There is no seeker anymore in between that tries to find which opinion is right, because both opinions are potentially right. The way the brain circle works is either or. It's always been like that, and it will always be like that. And, or. Elephant, no elephant. Thinking, no thinking. Questioning, no questioning, etc., etc. Thinking that there should be one right thing or one wrong thing, but there isn't. It's just opinions, ideas. So, of course, it's impossible to remember who you are. That is impossible. And that is a true statement. Literally, it's a true statement. It's impossible to remember who you are because what you remember is only what you think. And that is a true statement as well. Completely true statement. Or what you experience as well. Okay, but it's still not you. So you cannot remember who you are. But you cannot unknow who you are either. It's impossible. It is all of that. There's no conflict there. So of course, the body laptop called Leonard can tell me, Max, of course, Max, I know who I am. And I'll say, yes, of course, you know who you are. And at the same time, Leonard will tell me, but Max, I don't know who I am. And yes, that is true too. It's not in contradiction. But Leonard, does it matter if you know who you are? Well, no, of course it doesn't. Exactly. Does this very question, who am I, make sense? What am I? What is this I? No, it doesn't. And the question falls away. The questioner falls away. The thinker falls away. The sense of separation, the sense of me that tries to understand what it is or who it is or what is this life falls away. It just falls away. Because it doesn't exist in the first place. Because there really is no me. And that, Leonard, can be understood by your brain, can be registered, if you prefer, by your brain. That there is no me. There are experiences coming and going. There are thoughts coming and going. Yes, absolutely. It's the way the so-called body laptop works. I guess.
Mm.
I'm not even sure, but I think so. What do I know? I don't know anything because really, there really is nothing to know. And at the same time, the way I speak now may appear as if I know. And that's what I mean. You are speaking from this place. I don't speak from that place. It's not this it because it's not a place. It's just truth being spoken.
Hmm.
Because it is clear in this laptop that there is no question there. There is no free will in what I said. And it can appear there is free will. It can appear there is a choice, rather. Sure. But I'm not thinking right now. There is not thinking right now, should I say it or should I not say it? And even if there's thinking, I should say it or I shouldn't say it, it's still what's happening. There was still no thinker creating this. There was no creator behind all this, creating this.